let's get things rolling here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'd like to welcome Melissa Pace. She is URI Master Gardner, and she also works for the Massachusetts Horticultural Society. Melissa, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
You brought in some beautiful assortments here, and I'm actually very excited to chat about this. We've been chatting before just about what herbs can do. But before we get started, tell us just a little bit about your background.
Well, I began using herbs with my grandfather, who lived over in Pawtucket on Roosevelt Avenue. And he'd originally come from Switzerland and had quite an extensive background in herbology and the utilization of herbs for medicine, for culinary purposes, and just for their beauty.
And just for the beauty. I mean, they are quite gorgeous. I'm taking a look at this, and you kind of expect when you hear herbs, you think, just green leaves, but that's really not the case.
Not at all, not in the least. A lot of them do flower at some period, and even the ones that are leafy have a very beautiful form and fit wonderfully into a garden, even if it's not a dedicated herb garden.
And that's what I think is so interesting, is you were telling me just back there about St. John's wort, how people are using it for the visual aspect, but you can also plant it and use it to your own medicinal values. But we should get it out of the way. A disclaimer here, what should people know about herbs going forward?
If you're using them for truly medicinal purposes, you need to seek the advice of a doctor and a practitioner in herbs. That just looking on the internet or reading a book quickly is not enough. Many of these items will interact with medications that you're taking, so you do need to seek medical advice. They have the same chemical compounds as their equivalent drugs that you would take over the counter, such as digitalis.
It's absolutely incredible. But yes, please speak with a doctor before you embark on an herb expedition or journey. We're not giving you medical advice here today, so please know that.
Not in the least.
Not in the least. But we do want to share some history and some information about these herbs, because it's pretty neat just what some of these plants can do. So where should we start today?
It is. Well, some of them, even the simple garlic, now they have found that the allicin that's in the garlic not only helps with heart conditions, which they've known for quite a while. They suggest that you purchase garlic pills that are made up of garlic if you have heart issues, but also now that it helps with mental capacity functions. It helps alleviate dementias, and yes, so they're doing quite a few studies. So even what's old is new again, and they're developing new ways of using their antioxidant features.
Wow, and this one you said is what, elephant garlic?
This is elephant garlic. And one of the nice things, if you grow your own garlic, very simple to grow, you just push the cloves into the ground. You can grow it in amongst your flowers. You don't need a dedicated bed. They can even be done in a pot. And if you look online and you purchase the seed garlic from a grower, you'll have probably up to 100 different types of garlic to choose from that have all different features, different flavors, all different features. Something like the elephant garlic would be a very sweet garlic, not that offensive bite in the aftertaste. But if you do want a hotter garlic, you can go with the Spanish garlics and the purple garlics.
Okay.
So there's a much further array than going into a supermarket, and either you buy garlic or you don't buy garlic, and those are your only choices.
We could probably talk for 15 minutes about garlic.
Easily.
It's so fascinating. Okay, where should we start? Let's start where's St. John's wort? Let's start with this one, because I think it's fascinating, and like you said, this is the one that people will spend a lot of money on and get nowhere, right?
Correct.
So there's one part of it, and I don't know where the other part is.
So in 2014, both the New York Consumer Protection Agency and the Canadian government had done tests on medical herbs that were sold in major places like Target, Walmart, GNC, and they found that 1/3 of them are totally fake. There's no DNA from the advertised plant at all. And these are all plants that have been proven by thousands of years of use by people to be the most useful to individuals, but they're also the easiest to grow. They also can be the most beautiful. So this is going by, but it has these beautiful yellow flowers when it's in its prime. The entire top of the bush will be covered with these flowers.
Wow.
It'll be beautifully round. It stays nice and tight all by itself without any pruning. Be about 4 foot tall and about 4 foot wide.
That sounds great.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful plant that stands alone just for its beauty.
I mean, it sounds, and when you're taking care of something like that, so say you decide to plant this in your garden, I mean, is it pretty easy to maintain?
Very easy. These plants mostly come from the Mediterranean areas, so they don't want to be overly watered, and they do not want to be fertilized. They want to be left to their own devices. The worst thing you can do is put them near a watering system or try to attend to them too much, so that it doesn't get
Sounds
too
like
much
my kind of
easier than
gardening.
that. Yes, for sure. Now, if you wanted to use this beyond when it blooms and when it makes these beautiful little berries that are great for arrangements, they're also good for teas, helps with depression, with mood stabilization. But this is one plant that you need to be particularly careful with. If you're going to take in any quantity, it will interfere with high blood pressure medications and other medications that you may be taking. There are a few places in Rhode Island, the pharmacy, there's one in North Attleboro, 7 Arrows, that can help you very much with trying to figure out what doctors will help you with homeopathic type medications.
Weren't you saying too you can use this and like apply it topically?
Absolutely, and the topical uses certainly have a lot less downside to them.
Yeah.
So if you take these berries and then you squished it and then mixed it with something like a petroleum jelly or a coconut oil or whatever you like best, if you have any kind of scrape, cut, any kind of mosquito bites, poison ivy, how easy is that? How easy is that?
So it's kind of a nice alternative to putting some type of chemical relief on your body.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I always go for the lowest, easiest, least expensive alternative if I have an issue. And then I move up the line from there to more comprehensive care if that doesn't alleviate my issue, or if it's something more severe. Obviously, I'm not going to treat myself with
If it's less severe.
Correct.
That's great. And again, a beautiful plant too. So if you're looking for something else that's maybe a little less tough to take care of.
From early spring blooming right through to the pretty little fall.
I like that. Okay, what should we go to next?
Well, if you don't want to imbibe herbs because you're afraid, you can also use Aroma Therapy.
Oh, yeah.
This is a hyssop. And the smell is very anisey, very, very anisey.
Yeah, it's very light.
Sweet, light.
It's nice.
It's very hard to describe. But if you take the heads off and you put them into a small cotton bag and then lay that bag between your pillowcase and your pillow, just the fragrance alone has been proven to induce sleeps.
That's nice. So all those sleepless nights you're having, maybe a natural remedy, something like that can help.
First, before moving on to something a little more severe. Lavender, which looks somewhat similar, is in that same category. Some individuals also will make a bath little sachet, let the hot water run over the bath sachet. They hang it over the spout, and not only is it pleasant, but it's sleep-inducing.
So if you're, say you live in an apartment complex,
Correct.
or you don't have your own garden, something you can't do yourself, where's a good place that you can go get these?
I would go, like I said, the pharmacy over on Cemetery Road, I believe it is, over in Providence. They grow their own. I believe in Cranston they have classes where you can learn more about how to use it. You can go and work there. You know that that's going to have the real herb when you purchase it. You can also go, 7 Arrows has a very similar environment where you can go, you can learn about the herbs, and the herbs that they package are from their own homegrown herbs, so you know that they're really going to be the herb and not sawdust.
That's good. I like that idea. Farmers markets?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Farmers markets now, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods now are having more and more of the herbs that are packaged well beyond just your simple basil. There's a lot of thymes that are available now.
Oh yeah, talk about the thyme.
Makes
This is
an
interesting.
awesome pot of fur. But a lot of old New England farmers used to use it in chicken feed. So they would just take it, they would strip the leaves off into the chicken feed, and it's antibacterial. So it would perform the same function as providing antibiotics to poultry, and it's much better because there's less of a resistance that they develop from the time. And now you hear on the Purdue commercials,
It smells good too.
that they are doing the same thing, that they now are using natural antibiotics that are contained.
And that's what they're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, so we have that. What else do we have in here? Oh, let's talk about echinacea, because that's another big
Absolutely.
one that has been found to be beneficial to people's immune systems, but a lot of people buy it and they don't see any results because what they're buying in pill form isn't echinacea.
It isn't echinacea
It's
at
not
all.
echinacea. So if you're going to the actual plant, which is a flower, who knew what it actually looked like? It's beautiful.
And in all of my talks that I do about herbs for garden clubs and civic organizations, this is the one when I pull it out, they all go, that's echinacea.
I have that in my garden.
It's
yeah.
commonly called coneflower.
Okay.
It's a very popular flower because of its incredible easy care. It will survive in incredibly dry environments. It wants no fertilizer. So you'll frequently see this in both pots and directly in the ground. The properties are very high in antioxidants, helps ward off colds, is one of the #1 herbs that are sold in the winter.
Wow.
Very high in vitamin C. And it's very simple. It's much more potent when it's fresh. You would simply take this head off and then you would smash it with like a kitchen hammer and put it in a hot water, take it back out, and there's your echinacea tea.
And describe for us kind of what that would taste like if you're consuming it in a tea form.
It has a very earthy, very rich, very similar to like a cinnamon, turmeric. It has just a very wonderful exotic flavor.
I'm trying to see if that's what the flower actually smells like.
No, it doesn't.
And I can't really smell
No.
anything with the flower.
No, there's a little bit of a fragrance from the flower, particularly after. You'll see that's a little young yet. It still has the pollen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't really smell anything.
No, but boy, the taste it's really wonderful. It mixes super well with the honey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you got like some fresh honey, and if you're already
Incredibly
starting to
pleasant.
feel yourself go downhill, if you're catching a cold
Exactly.
with the honey, with that, I feel like that would be really good. For people, we were talking about before, what's the best way if you were trying to get some health benefits out of using herbs, if you're trying to get some medicinal benefit out of it, what's the best way to consume these? Do you do it in cooking, just throw them in some soup? Do you do it with tea? Do you try to just mix things up? Can you use them dried? What's the best way, do you think?
You can. If you're going to dry them, you would do exactly this. You'd put it in a small cluster. You would wrap it with elastic, not with string, because as they dry, they shrink. And if you have it tied, all the stems fall out.
Oh.
You're going to put it into a dark place that's breezy. Even if you have a porch, that's a wonderful place. The old shaker bars that they have with the hangers work super well, but even just on an old coat hanger or anything. You're just going to hang them out until they brown and they're crispy, and when you squeeze it, it breaks. You can use it all through the winter. You're going to, once it's dry, you're going to break it up, put it in an airtight container, even a Ziploc bag, but you can get the nice containers at like a Michael's or any type of a craft store. And with most of these, you can use both the flower heads and the leaves for almost all of them.
Oh, that's great. You use the whole plant.
Oh, exactly. The simplest way is to utilize it in a tea. You can also make tinctures, which is where you would dissolve it in alcohol. So you would use a high alcohol base like a vodka or a non-flavored, put it in. Frequently done with hyssop. It makes like almost a cordial flavor.
So if you're going for a little something extra.
But the easiest is
Treat
definitely in tea.
I think I'll stick with the tea.
And mixed with
Tony
fruit.
will go with the tincture.
Now you're speaking my language.
Tony got excited when he heard this. He's like, leave me some of that. That's great. Well, we still have a lot more to get to, but we're out of time. But if you're interested in any of these programs, there's a talk coming up on this weekend, and it's on my other set of notes. I don't know what it is, but there's a program coming up in East Providence on the 12th, right?
Correct.
Is that you giving that, or is that
It is not. It's someone
another
else. Yes,
Master
yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Do you have that information?
I not with
You don't.
me.
Okay, but I have it, and it'll be on the link on the website. I'm sorry I don't have it with me, but it's on the 12th. That's in East Providence. So if you're interested in any other medicinal or culinary uses with herbs, I'll make sure to have that on the website. Sorry, I don't have it for you right now, but it will be on there. So Melissa, thank you so much for joining us
Quite
today.
welcome.
This has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm excited to hear more. So thank
Quite
you for
welcome.
joining us. I
Quite
appreciate it. Melissa Pace with URI